Hello everyone and welcome to our health class. We are so excited to share all of this really valuable and useful information with you all, and we're going to do our best to keep it short and sweet. That way we can keep everyone's attention and you get the absolute most from this. So, are you ready to get started?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. So, up first we're going to be talking interventions, and within this slide we're going to talk about vaccines, mammograms, biopsies, pap smears, and root canals. Some of them will be a little bit more extensive, some of them a little more brief. And I will start out with the vaccine slide. So I'm not sure, I suppose not everyone is aware of some of these common ingredients, but these are nearly found in, I would say, most, if not all, vaccines. At least one or all of these ingredients. So first we have aluminum, mercury, formaldehyde, and aborted babies. There is certain codes that you can look for the last one, and I for myself, I'm not into looking for the codes because I just choose to not do any of them. But if that's something you're interested in, I have a lot of information over that as well. And like I said, this is with every vaccine. And one of them that I would like to talk about is the vitamin K. It's fairly normal even for people that are anti-vax and choose to not give their children vaccines. The vitamin K is one that they tend to still give them. And it's something that they give to little boys I want to say it's right when they're born, so that they can perform the circumcision or whatever. And what it potentially is supposed to do is clot their blood so that something with the surgery can go, I don't know, something along those lines. Well, with that, first I would like to say God doesn't make mistakes, and there's a reason that their blood is a little bit thinner when they're born. And so when you go injecting this, and I would also like to say it's not vitamin K, it's a number of these ingredients listed here. And when you go injecting this into your kid just moments after they've seen light, it's dangerous, and a lot of times it comes with a cost. But I have just a few statistics that I can cover on this. And like I said, I'm not going to get into all of it, but there is a lot of information regarding this topic, and lots of things that need to be looked at. So, number one, I would like to say vaccines do come with a black box warning and are linked to leukemia. So, whether it's something you're looking into or not, all you would have to do is at your visit or whatever, maybe you could ask for the package insert. And whether they give that to you, I'm not sure. But just by viewing the package insert alone, you will see that there is a black box warning that is linked to leukemia. And I believe that that's on most of them. I want to say it is on the vitamin K as well, which goes to show that it is not just vitamin K. And so I talked about the common ingredients. And another thing, there's a big controversy as far as, do they cause autism, do they not? And I'm not going to come out and say yes, but I will say I've never seen a child that's fully unvaccinated and not had a single vaccine that has autism. I will confidently say that, because I myself have not. And I can show you just some of the statistics. In 1983, there were 10 vaccines given to the U.S. babies, and the autism rate was 1 in 10,000. In 2008, there were 36 vaccines given to the U.S. baby, and the autism rate was 1 in 150. in 2013, there were 46 vaccines given to the U.S. baby, and the autism rate was 1 in 88. And this only goes to 2013, but here recently I saw it 2021, and I want to say the list is up to like 60 to 70 something vaccines given to the U.S. baby within the first so many years of life, and now they're saying that the autism rate is potentially 1 in 3. And so, I mean, I don't find those things to just be a coincidence. So I think that those are really something we need to pay attention to, and whether that is the truth or not, I believe it is, but it's something to look into. And if you're interested in diving into this and researching it, get with me, because I have a ton of information over it. I have tons of pages here that I could read, but it would take us quite a while. So, another thing, if this is something you're looking into, there's a video on YouTube, and it is the father of vaccines, Stanley Plotkin, and he's under oath in this recording, and he actually is asked some pretty extensive questions as far as what parts of the child that they've harvested when doing these vaccines, and he goes into detail, and it's pretty sick if you ask me. So that is, I would say that's a pretty good place to start, because he's the one who kind of jump-started the whole vaccine thing, and it's coming from himself under oath. So that would really be something to look at. And I know the running question for this topic is, how could I enroll my kids in school without their up-to-date shots? And I would say, number one, there's exemptions that you can opt out. You can do a religious document. There's different things that you can do. And for myself, if it comes to that and there isn't an exemption for it, then I would say the school is not for my children. If they have to be injected with harmful substances to attend, then I would say skip it altogether. So, with that, we will be moving on to the mammogram and biopsy slide, and I am going to pause just for 1 second so that Jen can hop back in. Okay, so to finish up the vaccine topic, I was talking about the schools and how a lot of people believe that's mandatory for your child to attend school, and I was talking about how there's exemptions for that, and it's actually a fairly easy process. So if that's something you're interested in, get with me. I have all the paperwork for that. I have the site you can go to get more information on that, and to fill that out online as well, if that's something you would like to do. Also, I would like to add that the educational system, they push it not for your better good, but they push it because they get additional funding for each child that is fully vaccinated. And that same goes for the doctors and pediatricians as well. They get an additional commission off of the vaccines for each patient that they have in office that's fully vaccinated. So they unfortunately are not pushing those for your better good. They're pushing them for their wallet. And so that's something you'll find in a lot of these medical interventions that are not for our better good, but for their wallets, unfortunately. So, did you have anything else you wanted to add on that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So, moving on to mammograms and biopsies. I will just read what I have written down here. It says mammograms more harm than help. Mammograms can cause cancer themselves. That's right. You walk into your mammogram appointment cancer free and walk out with cancer growing in your body. Why? Simply because an x ray is ionized radiation and the cause of cancer. By mutating and damaging normal cells, you're being exposed to 30 kVp radiation, which is 300% more carcinogenic than high energy radiation like that emitted from an atomic bomb. So that puts it into a little bit of perspective for you. Not only is the radiation harmful, it's direct radiation. It's literally smashing your breast in between it. So even if it was from afar and you're walking by the machine, you're getting exposed to it. Not to mention when it's directly touching you, and not only touching you, but putting pressure. So, every year, approximately 1.6 million breast tissue biopsies are performed, most due to the mammogram test results, and 80% of these are negative. Let's see. It kind of goes into, I'm going to just briefly cover this. It goes into some different alternatives as far as the thermograph. Is that what
thermography.
Yes, that's what I can never say that. So, it goes into that as a different alternative, and that can actually detect cancer in hot spots and things before the cancer is actually even formed without the harmful radiation. And so, that actually, in my opinion, does a better job at detecting the issue because it all starts with inflammation or a hot spot. So it can actually detect that long before it ever even forms into something more serious or whatever. And then with that, I'll just move on into the biopsy because those are kind of together. The first question I would like to ask is, what is cancer? And it's a clump of bad cells, also known as a tumor or something of that sort. The way I view it is your body's effort to save your life. It's sweeping up and accumulating all of these bad cells to a local area so that it can remove them from other areas of your body. And so, when you undergo a biopsy, initially what you're doing, and the picture on the screen, it is a pretty good representation of it. Poking the tumor will literally make it spread all over your body. So everything that your body did in effort to accumulate and sweep it all up out of your environment, just to clean up the environment and bring it to a local area, is the biopsy's undoing all of that. And so, when that you get your biopsy back or whatever, and they say, "Oh, it's quickly growing," there's your cue right there. It wasn't. It would have been just fine. And I say, you go looking for problems and you might just find them. So with that being said, the test results come back and it is what it is, but if it had never been bothered or poked, it wouldn't have spread all over your body. And so that's pretty much all I have on that.
But and your body's naturally going to work 24/7 to save you. And so when it does encapsulate these foreign objects, these, aluminum and different things that are in, say when I'm speaking of like breast cancer, we put aluminum on our lymph nodes there. That aluminum goes in and sits on the breast tissue. Well, that area is going to accumulate the things that it can't excrete because the aluminum clogs the pores of the armpits. And then it collects it and it basically encapsulates it to protect you from those foreign objects. So then when you go in and you open that up, everything that the body's done to protect you, then they say, oh, you have a fast growing, rapid spreading, and it's just all your body's efforts to protect you. They just undid in just a moment. So, you're exactly right. You go looking for problems, you're going to find them. If we would, some people never go to the doctor and they probably have had cancer at some point, but the body took care of it. And so cancer is actually your body's way of protecting you, and it will take care of it. It will flush it out. It will take
Detox it
care of it.
naturally.
So we've just been lied to and told that cancer is, this really bad thing, but it's actually, your body's way of protecting you. So it's when we it's when we intervene with what the body is meant to do naturally that we create a lot of excess problems.
And another thing that I've seen is, like, say someone goes in for this particular say breast cancer, and they treat it for that area, and then they come back for their checkups to do another scan or whatever, and then they find cancer in another area of the body, in the liver, in the kidneys, and that's just a really good example of, it was in that local area, but it's no longer in that local area because the biopsy that was formed to initially test what it is, which, I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. It's a clump of bad cells. That's what we know, and that's all that should matter as far as that goes. And like you said, our bodies will do away with that naturally and get rid of those toxins and work every day to do so. So that's pretty much all I have on that. Moving on to pap smear. I don't have a whole lot on this. I have researched it enough for myself that I choose to not do so. But on the slide it just says our cervix has a natural protective outer layer. The pap smear causes damage to the cervix, causing an immune response. And so that's generally what I've found for it, and that's enough for me to say I'll skip it. But I know that you've shared a story with me before of someone that you knew or something. So if you don't mind to share that.
Yeah. So I had a friend, and we've all been told, you need to go in for your annual, you need. And there was a time where I believed that. I no longer believe that. I don't want any foreign objects going into my body and them removing any of my tissue. I don't believe that their instruments are meant to go inside of our body and be removing tissue. So I had a friend, she didn't have any issues. She went in, she got her pap smear. They called her back in and told her there was an issue. She went back. They said, well, we think you might have an issue, but we're not sure. We got to take another sample. They did. Then they told her she had some kind of a cancer. And so they said, you've got to start cauterizing your uterus. So she goes and she's going into these appointments and they're cauterizing her uterus, and she is bleeding. I mean, fairly a lot. I don't want to say profusely, but she's heavily bleeding. And she's in an immense amount of pain. And she's just so torn because she's doing what they're telling her to do. But she finally gets to a place where she says, I just wish I had never gone in there in the first place. And I said, then why do you keep going back? And I said, what do you have to lose if you just stop going? And she said, I believe I will. And she stopped going. Everything leveled back out, and she's completely fine. And she had a baby, I think a little less than a year ago. So, yeah, I think that's interesting. I think, they don't make money when they have a clean pap smear, So if you have anything weird or anything off a little bit, they're going to make money by referring you to these specialists that cauterize they make money every time you go in and you're having these procedures done. So, again, you go looking for problems, you're going to find them. And if you'll just leave things alone and you take care of your temple, things will flush out and they will level out if you give the body the chance.
Yes. And not to mention the known carcinogens that they're lathering the instruments with before they even insert it.
I was just going to say the same thing. We don't know what's on the instrument that they're putting up inside of us and, taking off tissue. That stuff is touching tissue way up inside the body. That stuff is never meant to go inside of us. So I personally will not ever have another one.
Yeah. I never have, and I never will. So
good for you. I've never had a mammogram, so I can confidently say that I never will.
Yes. Either one for me. So moving on to the root canal. The nerves from our teeth are connected directly to the brain, and each tooth has an energetic connection to different organs and functions in the body. Imagine what a root canal, mercury filling, and or formaldehyde in the person's mouth will do to a brain when they're connected like this. And this picture is a really good representation of how everything's connected. And beyond that, each tooth has a meridian to a certain organ as well. So that's something to really pay attention to. And I have just a few like facts to share about this. 98% of women with breast cancer have a root canal on the same side. A vast majority of degenerative diseases begin with an infection in the mouth. There's nowhere else in the body that can leave dead or infected tissue. The tooth should be no different. It still has nerves and a blood supply. The root, the blood supply and nerves, are removed from the tooth during the root canal. When the blood supply and nerves are being removed, you're also removing the immune defenses. 96% of cancer patients have a root canal on the tooth that links to their primary cancer location. The problem will not necessarily show up in the tooth, it will show up in the body.
Yeah.
And I would even go as far as saying it might not show up until years later.
Yeah.
So, the root canal is the cause of many things from mental to heart to arthritis to kidneys and so much more. It is also the number one cause of a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
So, some really interesting information to unfold. Is there anything else you would like to add on that? Or even your own testimony?
Yeah, I would say root canals are one of the most toxic things that are just socially acceptable, that we just, you have a bad tooth. Oh, just go get a root canal, save the tooth at any cost for cosmetic reasons. But you don't realize that you're putting your entire system in jeopardy over one tooth that you're trying to salvage for cosmetic reasons. Because, the bacteria that's left behind when you leave that dead organ in your body is akin to botulism. And so you've got botulism running through your lymphatic system in that area. So that's why you will have on the same side of your root canal, you'll have a hot spot on the breast or a cancer spot on the breast because you've got botulism running from your lymph fluid down and into the breast. And if it has nowhere to drain, it's going to cause breast cancer. And most people, their pathways are closed in the armpit. So there is nowhere for it to go.
Yeah, very true.
So the answer, for people who say, okay, well, I have a root canal, now what? Well, you have to have it pulled.
Mm-hmm.
If you want your health conditions to clear up, you're never going to be fully healed if you've got even one root canal. I mean, you might not feel like it's manifesting yet, but it will.
Mm-hmm. And like when I'm conducting a health consultation or a health call or anything like that, one of the first few questions I ask is, how seriously are you willing to take your health?
Absolutely.
Because when they go to tell me, oh, I have a root canal or, oh, I have this, my first response would be, go get it removed immediately.
Yeah.
But in the same sense, if they're not willing to take their health that seriously and really get on top of those issues, then that's a waste of their time, even. I don't even want to say a waste of my time, because I love what I do and I don't mind talking to people about it. But it is, you can do so much and change your entire lifestyle, but if you have a constant infection in your body, you can't remove that.
And I'm glad you said that because that's what it is. It's an infection. Mm-hmm. And, you've got to get rid of infections in the body because your body's, those hidden infections, your body is working 24/7 to try to clear up those infections. So it's not able to, on top of working 24/7 to digest your food, because we are a society that overeats. And so we're giving this body too many stressors, with the constant eating and with the, with all of these hidden infections and, clogging up our pores and clogging up, not allowing our body to detox properly. That's why we're finding so many people with disease, because the system is compromised.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So would you say that's roughly it for that? Mainly just really tend to the root issue.
Yeah. You got to get to the root cause. And that's what I always say, you can mask things, but ultimately masking them is actually prolonging your illness because you're not addressing the root cause. So I just always say get to the root cause, and speaking of root canals, there was a documentary on Netflix called The Root Cause. And it was a man that had very intense health issues. And he finally figured out he had a root canal that was infected. Obviously, all root canals are infected. But he got his root canal pulled, and he was so passionate about sharing, he restored his health. But the documentary was recently pulled from Netflix because it started going viral again. I think this was, 7 or 10 years ago that it came out, but it recently went viral again. And so they've pulled it because people are learning that, that it's a hidden cause of a lot of issues.
For sure.
And if you guys have any questions about anything, we'll include our contact information. We are both, we're the little man. We do not, we will take time to talk with you, visit with you. Yes. There's no case too small or too big for us. We're willing to get in the trenches with you and help you figure this out because we've both been there. So it's what we're passionate about. Yeah, it's what we're passionate about. It's what we love. I know that the Lord has, he brought me through it so I could help others get through it. And so, yeah, if you have any questions, you want help with what you're dealing with, you don't even know where to start. There's some really great information in this video. But if you want to go even more in depth, you are welcome to reach out to myself or to Maddox.
Absolutely. And like she said, we are very passionate about what we do. So we will sit and talk to you and pull you out of whatever you're in and love every second of it. So
yeah,
it's really encouraging to us even. We'll call each other and tell each other praise reports and testimonies of
we
people
can say,
we work with.
Yes, and we can say, hey, this is what worked for this, because there are a lot of people who come to me that they say, my doctor can't help me. They told me they don't know what to do. And so with that being said, they're learning, they have to be their own doctor, and I had to be my own doctor. And so now it's like, okay, I'm going to come beside you and I'm going to help you figure this out with you.
Yes. And it's very encouraging. Every time I'm able to help someone, it encourages me even in my own healing journey. So,
well, and we learn something with every new case, we learn something new. So,
yeah. And we're able to share that with each other and bounce ideas off of each other and say, oh, well, so-and-so just used this for this and it worked really well. And so we've been able to grow a lot together as well as help others grow alongside. So super exciting.
Yes.
Anyways.
Well, thank you for having me, Maddox.
Absolutely.
And we hope you enjoyed this content.
Yes. All right. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.